This is Wendy from Wendy's Classic Corner, and today we're in the beautiful Brentwood, PA to check out the Pittsburgh Antique Radio Society. Have you ever wondered about the history of radio and how radio evolved over the years? Well, if you have, you're in luck today because we are going to hear all about radio. So come with me and let's check it out.
My friends are calling me wild like the wind, now drifting through all I've known, packing up and trying all my best to stay home.
Okay, so we're here with Ed, and Ed, you're going to tell us a little bit about radio. So for the people that might not know, which is probably not very many, but maybe some, what is radio?
That's a good question, and the easiest way for me to explain it is I'm talking now. My vocal cords are going back and forth.
Yeah.
They're making airwaves, audio frequency, and they're traveling through the air and they're hitting your eardrums and you hear it. So that's a one-on-one communication. Now, think of a stage and there's an actor or a band or something. Again, we have audio frequencies and it's going out over the air to the audience. And they hear it. Now that's a one-to-many, okay? And those frequencies are 20 cycles per second to 20,000 cycles per second. The better term for it is called hertz, okay? So that's what we know as close communication. Now radio allows you to take audio signals, same as as I would talk, or same as a performer on a stage would be, and they put that on top of a high frequency signal, okay? And it's transmitted out. Now with the appropriate receiver, which we call radio, picks up that signal, decodes it back to audio, and someone can hear that. And many people can hear it. Anybody that has a radio tuned to that frequency will hear it. So that's, again, one-to-many, and that's kind of what radio is.
Okay, very interesting. I've never really had that explained to me, so thank you. So can you tell us a little bit about the history of radio, the way radio came about?
Sure. It started pretty much 1887, I believe. A fellow by the name of Heinrich Hertz, and that's why we call these waves Hertz. He worked on in a lab, and he proved that you could send information over electromagnetic waves. And that was built on math that was done by a guy by the name of Maxwell, who was a theoretical physicist. So right around 1894, there was a young man called Guglielmo Marconi.
Ooh.
Yeah, and he got interested in this. He was a young man, and he decided he was going to experiment with it. So he started it, and he got from one room to another with making communication. That was 1884. By 1901, he had built transmitting equipment that would cross the Atlantic.
Wow.
Now, you have to understand, this was very powerful spark generators, okay? And the only intelligence for that was to turn on the spark, on and off. And because we already had Morse code, the railroads used it for many years before that, it was a natural thing to go to Morse code to transmit. So that's kind of how we got to communicating. However, it took 20 years for a lot of smart people to get information, as we know as audio, on top of this high frequency, Took 20 years to do that. And there were many people. There was Lee DeForest, Edwin Armstrong, John Fleming. They all contributed to that. So by 1920, there was the first commercial broadcast with audio, and it was done by a gentleman named Frank Conrad. He worked for Westinghouse Electric, and he was a tinkerer, and he convinced Westinghouse to let him make a transmitter, which Westinghouse did, and Frank, operating from the workshop above his two-car garage in East Pittsburgh, made the first voice transmission, in a commercial broadcast, and this was 1920, it was the 2nd of November, 1920, and he reported the results of the Cox-Harding presidential race.
Wow.
So that's where we go as far as history.
Oh, wow. So started in Pittsburgh.
Commercial broadcasting began in Pittsburgh at KDKA. That's correct. That's correct. We have that distinction.
Yeah, well, I look forward to seeing all the radios, and we thank you for the history, Ed, and thank you for inviting us out here tonight.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
All right. We have Bob here, and Bob, can you tell us the year of this model?
Yeah, this is from about 1922. It's an RCA Areola Junior. It's actually manufactured by Westinghouse.
Okay, and can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, this is a crystal radio. And crystal radios didn't need any power. There's no batteries or anything involved. You simply hooked it up to an antenna, and you had your headsets, and it was powered basically from the actual reception of the radio station. So it's one of the earliest types of radios.
Yes, I've never seen anything like this. Very interesting. So can you tell us how you got involved with Pittsburgh Antique Radio Society?
Yeah, I had worked as an electronics technician years ago and got involved with the hobby, found out about the Pittsburgh Antique Radio Society. I rejoined again after I retired, and then, I've been collecting and repairing radios since I was a teenager, so it kind of fit what I had done in the past, yeah.
Awesome, and I know you have other radios to show us, so thank you. We'll go on to check out your other radios in a moment.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we have Chris here, and Chris, you have 2 radios. Can you tell us what year these are?
From 1922
Okay,
and maybe into 23.
Okay, and can you tell us a little bit about these radios themselves?
They're early battery sets, so like radio didn't really start till about 1921. And these are what we would call a tuned radio frequency radio. Very simple, no AC power. They just ran off of batteries, so we call them battery sets.
Okay, interesting. And what brought you to Pittsburgh Antique Radio Society?
Well, I'm a retired electrical engineer, and back in the day when we moved back to Pittsburgh, I was just on the web looking like, come on, there's got to be something fun to do. And yeah, I found the club back around the year 2000.
Yeah, and there is something actually very special about these radios. Can you tell us what it is?
Well, I like history, and I like the history of radios. These are from the Pittsburgh area. This one actually down on Liberty Avenue, 963 Liberty. I was there the other night. It's a pizza place. And I walked in and asked the guy, do you know anything? No, he didn't know anything. But yeah, these were built on Liberty Avenue, and there's a couple of stores there that specialized on radio parts. This one's from Newcastle, and if you look inside, this was made in Grove City, so not exactly Pittsburgh, but close up.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. These are really wonderful, and thank you for sharing them with us today.
Thank you.
Okay, well, welcome back, Ed, and you have a radio for us now. Can you tell us what year this radio is?
This is a 1925 Radiola Model 26.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit about this radio?
Yes. I'd like to tell you a little bit about how I acquired it and why.
Certainly.
I retired in 2009. Hadn't been touched the radio until then, joined PARS in 2011. So I had always saw these radios. This is the basically first super heterodyne portable that was made, a successful one. And that was done with Edwin Armstrong, who was a genius, and he's the one that put this together. And So I joined PARS in 2011. So I'm kind of a late bloomer when it comes to PARS.
What brought you to that and what made you join?
Because I had been away from the hobby for so long, I always loved crystal sets, made those as a kid, and didn't do anything, like I told you, until 2011 when I came to here. So it was a natural. It was like, and the other little maybe comment I can make, when I retired, I wanted to stay married, so I didn't want to collect these big console radios. So I said, Ed, you better stick to something smaller, okay, like portables. So that's what I did. And again, this is a portable.
Okay.
And that got me into it.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for sharing this. I think we're going to see you later with another radio, but for now, we appreciate you sharing this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Wendy.
Hi, Fred. So you brought
Wendy.
your radio here today. Can you tell us what year this radio is from?
1933.
Okay, 1933. Can you tell us a little bit about this radio?
It's a Majestic 49B Duo. It has AM and shortwave bands. It's 4 tubes, super heterodyne, and it's a classic, iconic Art Deco radio from that era.
Super heterodyne. Do you have layman's terms for that?
Well, what it is it boosts the frequency of the radio to one specific frequency, and that way the radio is more tuned and it actually plays a lot smoother that way.
Oh, excellent. And what made you want to join the Pittsburgh Antique Radio Society?
Because I wanted to learn more about radio and the function of the radios, the way they worked. I was always intrigued by it because Dad worked in that department in Bloomingdale's. And as a result of it, this club is fantastic. I have learned so much from them. They are the greatest guys, very caring, very caring about trying to teach you everything. And it's been really a wonderful experience.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Fred, and thank you for telling us about the radio.
My pleasure, Wendy.
All right, Bob, you're back with another radio, a very interesting radio. What year is this from?
This would be the mid-1930s. This is a Zenith Model 805. It's a cathedral radio. You'll
And what
hear
does that
term.
mean, cathedral
It's
radio?
the design, the shape. It's the classic Gothic cathedral arch that was used in the great cathedrals of Europe. And the radio manufacturers, especially Philco, made a lot with this design in the 1930s. It's quite a beautiful design.
Yeah, and is there anything else you want to tell us about this radio?
It's a super heterodyne radio. I acquired this radio when I was a teenager, and unfortunately it had been put through a couple repairs that, didn't really do it justice, so I fixed it up and, have been using it since then, yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, and I think we still have one more radio from you.
Yes.
All right,
yes.
I'm excited to see it. All right, we have Craig here, and Craig brought his radio. And Craig, can you tell us what year this radio is?
This is 1933.
Okay, and what can you tell us a little about the radio?
This is a Majestic Model 461. It was called the Super 6. Has 6 tubes, and it was an early super heterodyne, as you probably heard. And it has the tombstone shape to it.
Okay, and what made you want to join the Pittsburgh Antique Radio Society?
I've been into electronics since I was age 13, collecting radios. Mother used to work at an auction house, and I used to buy radios dirt cheap back in the day, take them home, experiment on them, and I had to throw them away.
Oh.
But I do retain most of them now.
Okay, excellent. And do you have a little story you want to tell us about this particular radio?
Yes, Chris brought this to me at the October radio clinic. And he sat it down and he said, is there anything you can do for this? And I looked at it and I said, oh my, because it was a real basket case is a nice way to put it. But I put a lot of hours in it. I restored the cabinet, restored the chassis, and it is playing again.
Awesome. Well, it is very beautiful, and we thank you so much for sharing it with us. Mm-hmm. So we're here with Mark. Mark, you've brought one of your radios. Can you tell us what year this radio is from?
It's a 1936 Troy radio.
Okay, awesome. And can you tell us a little bit about the radio?
The radio is a very rare radio. It was made by a small manufacturing company out of Los Angeles. And the name of the radio came about from the inspiration of the University of Southern California Trojans, a well-known football team. And the dial on the radio I really like. It's a brass dial. and it depicts a Trojan soldier with a spear and then two small biplanes in the corner from like trimotor planes. And I really like the dial on the radio.
Oh, that's awesome. And can we turn the dial?
Yes.
All right, excellent. Okay, and what brought you to, how did you come to belong to the Pittsburgh Antique Radio Society?
About 4 years ago, I got an interest in restoring radios. I had a radio that I had had for a very long time, and I wanted to learn more about restoring radios. And one of the things I found very early on was they always recommend that you join a radio society because there's just a wealth of information there. In this club, there are people that have 40, 50 years experience. There's people that are experts in repairing the electronics. There's other people that are very experienced and excellent in restoring cabinets. So I thought it would be a great place to learn, more about restoring radios. Every time I come to a meeting, I always seem to learn something from somebody because there's just a wealth of information here.
All right, well, thank you so much. We really appreciate you coming and showing your radio, and thank you for joining us and talking about your radio today.
All right, thanks for having me.
Yeah. All right, so we have another person here today, John, and you have another radio for us. What year is this radio?
This radio is a 1937 and 38 was its lifespan.
Okay, and can you tell me a little about this radio? I think it says Zenith. I can get that much. What else can you tell me?
It's made by Zenith,
Yep.
and it's a pretty good quality radio. It has an RF amplifier, which means it's more sensitive.
Okay.
And again, it's a super heterodyne receiver, so that it has one high gain amplifier, and it converts all the radio signals to that one frequency. It's called the intermediate frequency. And it results in sensitivity and selectivity that we all need.
Okay, excellent. And what led you to join the Pittsburgh Antique Radio Society?
Well, I always had a love for radios and electronics, and I helped my neighbor. We used to communicate, and I built little things. When I was in 8th grade, we did things. And then I was part of an amateur radio club. In fact, one of our members was one. And then I heard about the Pittsburgh Antique Radio Society. A friend introduced me. And I came and I really thought, this is it. I enjoy this. The people were so friendly, so knowledgeable, then it just worked out perfect for me.
Oh, excellent. And I think you have a little story to tell us about how this radio is special to you.
Yes, back in the late 70s, I was driving through McKeesport with my 2 sons and my wife, and we saw an amateur radio festival. They call them Hamfest. I went in and I looked and I saw this radio here and I thought, boy, that's interesting. And I acquired it for like $15.
Wow.
It was a little rougher looking back then.
Yeah.
And I brought it home and we all enjoyed it. Once I got it working, it received shortwave and AM. And a little story with my children, my 8-year-old son decided he would do what Daddy does and help clean it up. Well, he got his felt tip pen and he wrote on the grill cloth. So I said, oh, that's great. And my younger son, I was attuned to what they call radio beacons. You'd hear beacons. He said, Daddy, that's aliens. So I carried that on a little bit and generated some interest in him.
So this has a special memory with your family.
It does.
All right, well, thank you so much for bringing it and showing us here today.
Oh, you're welcome.
Fred, you're back and you have another radio. What year is this radio from?
1939.
Okay, and you have this is very patriotic looking. I think you have a little story to tell us about this.
Yes, thank you very much. In 1939, the world was at war, and it was going on all over, and so Zenith, in order to promote patriotism in the United States, came out with a version of a radio called, affectionately, the Stars and Stripes radio. If you look at the brass escutcheon of the radio, it has stars on it. It has the impression of a flag waving and stripes for the patriotic American flag. The radio has 3 bands to it: shortwave, police, and broadcast. And it has a big gold dial that when it's illuminated at night is beautiful. Zenith traditionally had big black dials on their radios, and as a result of it, the gold dial became an icon. Very, very exciting look. The radio is finished in a photo finish burled motif. It has the original white Zenith knobs with the Z cast on each of the plastic knobs, and it has 5 tuning positions. This was the first year for Zenith Radio to have automatic tuning.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And I think you want to tell us a quick story about this picture here.
Yes, this radio sold new for $45, which in today's money is about $1,000. This is a picture of Lou Costello in the movie Rio Rita, and in the background is the Zenith Stars and Stripes radio. And Rio Rita was a story about what was going on in South America and Mexico, and at that time, the story revolved around, besides the comedy of Abbott and Costello, Nazi spies were trying to sneak bombs into the United States through Mexico. So it was an interesting story with a lot of comedy and a lot of truth to it because of the treasonous activities that were going on during the war.
All right. Well, thank you again, Fred, for your second radio. It's really beautiful, and thanks for joining us today.
My pleasure, Wendy. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So we have JD here. JD, you've brought your radio. What year is this radio?
That is a 1940 model Zenith, a model 7S432.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about this?
That was the mid-range table home radio that Zenith offered in 1940. Also, that was transitioning over into the 40 series, pre-war radios. And Zenith was experimenting with that slide rule dial. Most of everything that Zenith had before that was what they called the big round or big black dial. And this is the first year for the slide rule. And this particular radio has your AM broadcast and 2 shortwave bands.
Okay, and the slide thing, you mean it's more going this way than around?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. And what made you want to join the Pittsburgh Antique Radio Society?
I run into Mr. Wells, Chris Wells, who's the secretary of this club, about 8 years ago at the Antique Spring Fest down at Monaca. And I was intrigued with the way the club operated, and of course I'd been affiliated with a club over in Ohio where I'm from, and this was just so much far advanced, so I approached Chris and said, yeah, we'd be glad to have you. And I've been a staple in and out for several years now.
Oh, excellent. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate you bringing your radio and talking to us today.
You're welcome.
All right, Ed, so as we promised, you're back with another radio. So what year is this radio?
This is 1941.
Okay, and can you tell us a little bit about this radio?
Yes, this is a Zenith Transoceanic. It's their first one, and it was really a trendsetter. The owner of Zenith at that time was Eugene McDonald, and he was a yachtsman and an adventurer, and he went on expeditions, and he was always disappointed about how radios performed when he took any of them on his trip. And he had a whole engineering staff to work for him, so he said, guys, I want you to come up with the best portable radio that you can possibly make. And he went and he tested all these, and sure enough, it worked great. And interesting enough, if you look at this radio, it has a sailboat on the front. These were made from October of 1941 until April of 42. What happened was in December 7th, 41, we were attacked, Pearl Harbor. And Eugene McDonald was very patriotic. And he said, okay, when that happened, the later productions from December, middle of December on, they had B-17 bombers instead of the sailboat. And that finished out the run. And this is, it has 5 shortwave channels and 1 broadcast. And it's a 6-tube, and it runs on batteries or 110. And the interesting thing, these went off to war with our GIs. They loved them. They fell off the back of Jeeps and survived. It was amazing. And there's quite a few left of these yet you can find. And the price is getting up on those now, just for historical significance.
Okay, well, awesome. It's really cool. Thank you very much again, Ed. We appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. All right, so we have one more radio here with you, Bob, and what year is this from?
This would be the late 1940s. This is an Emerson Model 520. And it's kind of a special kind of radio. The cabinet is made out of a material called Dellen. It's almost like a type of early plastic. You could think of it like that.
Yeah, this looks a little bit more familiar now. It's starting to get into like this is like still a pre-war, or no, this is an after.
Just after the war, yeah. But it's starting to look more like a radio that most people would recognize,
Yeah, excellent. Well, thank you so much for bringing all your radios and talking to us today. We really appreciate
thank
that.
you.
All right, so we're here with Bob, president of the Pittsburgh Antique Radio Society. And so can you tell us a little bit about when the club started?
Yeah, the club was founded in 1986 by a group of antique radio collectors and enthusiasts, mainly from the South Hills here in the Pittsburgh area. And I happened to actually be at the first meeting, which was in 1986. And I had joined for a few years and then got busy with a career, and and I came back, and now I'm the current president of the club.
Excellent. And how many members do you have in this club?
We have about 150 members.
Yeah, and probably you're always looking to have new members.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Would you all sometimes wish that you'd be able to somehow target or get younger members in the club?
Yeah, we do have a few younger members. It is difficult sometimes to generate interest. A radio is almost like a rotary telephone to a lot of people. You may not have seen one, but you may have heard about them. So yeah, we try to get the word out and get some younger folks interested as well.
Yeah, well, hopefully we can help you with that. And then also, what if I was going to join, if I was going to be a member, what would I expect to happen? What events would I be able to attend? Yeah,
we have a quarterly newsletter that you would be automatically subscribed to when you join. And we do have regular meetings, approximately 8 meetings a year, and we also do radio clinics, which you got to see today, where we repair and troubleshoot on radios. We also have some social type events for our members, like a summer picnic, and we also have a holiday luncheon. We have, with every meeting, a contest of some type. And there'll be a theme to the contest. For instance, we might have a contest on cathedral radios, or we might have a contest on battery radios, portable radios. So that gets the interest of our members. We try to keep our contests, interesting to the membership.
And sometimes you do meetings where you include other areas, correct? Don't you have like a tri-state meeting coming up?
Yes, we have one big annual event every year. We call it the Tri-State Radio Fest. It's typically right after Easter season, and that is a big flea market that we have and a small auction there. It's a get-together. There'll be a contest, and we advertise this on our website. Of course, you can always come and buy a ticket at the door.
Yeah, so you have a website, so people can Google search Pittsburgh Antique Radio Society if they're interested, and they can reach you that way and join if they want to join.
Right.
Okay, excellent. And are you on any of the social medias, or just you have the website?
One of our members does have a Facebook page that you can look up and find that group as well.
Okay, well, hopefully we get some more folks out to join you, and we appreciate your time today, and we love what you're doing with classic radios.
Well, thank you, Wendy.
Yeah.
Trying on my best to stay home. ship alone.